You would think from all the nostalgia about dome car rides in the past that one could no longer enjoy such an experience. Yet dome cars still roam North America on various routes. Here are a few.
The magic of traveling in the dome car is that it's so unlike traveling in a typical rail car. In a typical rail car, you're looking out of a sheet of glass and it's like a motion picture racing by outside the train. Here it's like IMAX. It's all around you. You can see from one end of the train to the other. You can sit up here and see the horizon in every direction. You can watch the signals change ahead of the train. In fact, many times you can see the train from one end to the other, and that's pretty unique.
While the American Orient Express runs fairly long journeys, other rail operators offer a different sort of dome car adventure. Here are a few. Several American railroads operate dome cars as part of their business car fleets. In 1972, the Alaska Railroad acquired 4 Union Pacific dome cars to enhance their passenger service. Then, over 20 years later, the Alaska Railroad would raise the bar when it came to dome car travel.
The resurgence in dome cars is typically in the tourism market, primarily in Canada and Alaska. The new cars are called Ultra Domes and are made in Colorado, and they're built toward a higher capacity, accommodating 70 to 80 guests in the dome sections.
While the idea of a dome car was not new, it took the sharp eye of a man in the cruise industry to bring about the birth of this new type of dome car. Tom Rader shares his story.
Historically, people had taken a 3-day cruise, say to Skagway or Juneau, and then gotten off and taken an 8-day bus tour through Alaska. And certainly the concept of getting off of a gorgeous cruise ship and onto a bus for 8 days was pretty foreign to many of the visitors. What that meant was that very few of them really did it. And so typically we would take 10 or 12% of the passengers off the ship to go see the interior. Our idea was that first you wouldn't have to take the bus, and secondly, once you got to Anchorage, you would be able to take a train for 2 or 3 days and see the spectacular interior. We did that the first year using the Alaska Railroad's half-dome cars, and as we were standing at the gate one morning and 2 70-year-old ladies were elbowing each other to see who could get out the fastest to get in the only dome car on the train of 26 seats, I said, you know, we should have our own private cars. So we made a deal with the Alaska Railroad, which was then owned by the federal government and was administered by the Federal Railroad Administration. to pull our own private cars behind the Alaska Railroad.
It became evident that no one in the country knew how to build the quality and the luxury that Tom envisioned. First, he started by refurbishing used dome cars. This was the beginning of a new dome car era. Some have described the dome cars that resulted as legendary cruise ships on steel wheels. For the new double-deck dome cars, Tom pioneered and developed new glass that would offer unparalleled views for every passenger. Like many things, it's easier said than done. Tom Rader explains how.
We've spent the better part of a decade and a half doing our own research and development in the manufacture of a piece of glass that would be sophisticated enough to reject solar. We've kind of peaked in the last 6 or 7 years with a piece of glass that's really 3 unique pieces of bent glass that are laminated together with 5 plastic interlayers in them. And those 5 plastic interlayers start with a rare earth metal coated piece of PET, polyethylene, which is a very strong plastic, that reflects about half of the solar, 30 to half depending on the range that you're talking about. And then inside that we have various other reflective and absorptive layers. So that in the end we reject about 66% of all the solar.
The last dome car built for an American railroad was back in the late 1950s. With the demand of cruise and tour passengers in the Rockies and Alaska, a new design for a dome car was needed that offered bigger windows and more comfort and convenience. It's ironic that the new dome cars, both single-level and now those of the double-deck design, are being built in Colorado, the very state where the idea of the original dome car concept was envisioned. New dome cars are again traveling in majestic mountain scenery on the Rocky Mountaineer in Canada.
Our passion, our absolute passion in this company, and I know it can sound cliched, is service. I mean, it really is what we pride ourselves on. What we try and create is the atmosphere that the onboards and everybody on this train, everybody actually involved with the entire company, is saying, how can we make this the most amazing experience for our guests? How can we knock the socks off our guests? How can we exceed our guests' expectations? There are so many people that are coming here from very, very long distances. And this really is the trip of a lifetime for them, to be able to come to Canada, to go through the Rockies by train.
In Alaska, the newest version of the dome car was introduced in 2005 for the Alaska Railroad. However, there was a new twist to the dome car experience for these passengers.
We were trying to figure out what we could do to set ourselves apart. And in one of those meetings, we talked about the open platforms on the lower deck of our Aurora car and what a wonderful thing that would be. So we just asked if we could raise that deck up to the 2nd level.
This car, as you can see, has some very unique features, and I think our number one selling point is the open-air platform in the rear of the car. This is the only car at this time that has the upper level viewing platform, and really it's the best seat in the entire train. You have a great opportunity to take photos from an open-air deck looking out at the scenery, and being at the level that it is, it presents a fabulous place to capture the photographs for your trip.
The Alaska Railroad operated standard dome cars for many years. Then in 2005, as Susie Kiger has just explained, they embarked on a new concept. Pat Gamble, president of the Alaska Railroad, gives the reasons why the new dome cars were put into service.
It started out as a food service improvement project, and when we saw the capacity we could get into the kitchen and still had all this room, we got the idea that, you know, the face of our railroad is passenger service, and we couldn't think of any better way than to exhibit a first-class service in a first-class piece of equipment like this. We've married them up, and we have what we have today on this beautiful day, and the people are just loving it.
Third door down, we've got B, C, and D.
The process of planning and designing the new double-deck domes evolved over a 2-year period. To capture the spirit of Alaska, great attention was given to the detail of the interior design. Susie Kiger elaborates.
The elegance of this car, as you can see, is really very special. The local designer, Kathy Kerr, helped us with the interior design, and her concept was to bring back the classic rail cars from the past, and with that she incorporated some of the natural elements of the scenery with the garnets and the clouds. The seatbacks themselves, you can see the cloud patterns, the northern lights and stars and mountains. And in the dining car, she found local artist Aisha Gilbert to help us with the panels that you see in the dining car, with capturing the scenery along the rail belt. These reverse glass panels, that really tells the story of the scenery of the rail belt. The rivers, the aurora borealis, the flowers, and all the scenery that you see along this route.
During a period of 6 decades, railroad dome cars have evolved from a single-style mini-dome in 1945 to full-length domes to today's double-deck full-length domes. Dome cars are on the verge of evolving again, offering a land cruise experience similar to that of a cruise ship. Elegant fabrics, tufted leather, along with wood veneers and luxurious carpeting are what the future dome car may look like. Suites and mini-suites could be available, along with double-deck entertainment and dining cars. A luxurious glass-domed lounge would create a cruise-like atmosphere with a gracious mezzanine overlooking a lower-level piano bar. Fond memories of Union Pacific's famous dome diners would be rekindled with new, spacious dome dining cars that allow guests to enjoy ever-changing scenery as they dine. Time will tell if these new concept dome cars will ply the rails. It's safe to say, with worldwide travelers demanding higher levels of service, that the dome car will continue to be a desired feature on passenger trains of the future. America and Canada have always showcased their best scenery by train. From wide-open plains to soaring mountains, from thundering, roaring rivers to gentle flowing streams, through rain or shine, winter or summer, the view from a railroad dome car has never been matched. It is indeed dome car magic.